They said it was impossible. A mountain stood in the way. So, America decided to destroy it. Not go around it, not tunnel under it, move it completely. Excavating 200 million tons of rock by machines in tropical heat. 21,000 workers died. That is more deaths than wars, all to move a mountain. Empires fought over this land, not for water, for gold, for power. Today, 14,000 ships pass through every single year. $270 billion in trade. But this story will absolutely shock you. Panama Canal, Episode 3 of Waterways That Control the World. 8,000 extra miles, 3 weeks of extra sailing, $270 billion wasted on every ship for centuries. For thousands of years, indigenous people lived here, in peace, on a narrow strip of land barely 50 miles wide. Between two mighty oceans, they had no idea their homeland would become the most fought-over place on Earth. Simple wooden homes, children playing peacefully, women gathering food from jungle plants, men fishing in streams, a civilization in complete harmony with nature. No wars, no empires, just life. Then, in 1501, everything changed forever. European ships appeared, conquistadors armed with weapons, looking for gold. And they would stop at nothing to get it. The first contact was violent, brutal. Spanish soldiers with swords overwhelming indigenous people, screaming, chaos, blood. In minutes, the peaceful civilization was shattered forever. Villages burned, temples destroyed, indigenous people fleeing with children and belongings. In days, the civilization that existed for thousands of years was erased, not by war, by conquest. Then came the enslaving. People chained together, separated from families, forced into work gangs, children torn from mothers. This was not just conquest. This was genocide. This was the beginning of 400 years of suffering. Spanish whipped enslaved workers, workers digging under brutal sun, gold being extracted, while humans were destroyed. Spanish established colonial control, Spanish buildings, Spanish administrators, Spanish soldiers patrolling, Spanish wealth accumulating. For 300 years, this continued. Gold flowed to Spain. Panama got nothing. An entire people disappeared in just 300 years, replaced by African slaves when indigenous people ran out. The trade in human suffering became more valuable than the gold itself. This is the history nobody talks about. Then Spain brought African slaves, slave ships arriving, African people being unloaded in chains, being examined and sold like cattle, separated and enslaved. Two civilizations destroyed, and enslaved, all for gold, all for empire. For 300 years this continued, 1501 to 1800, 3 centuries of slavery, exploitation, and suffering. Gold continuously extracted, workers continuously dying, Spanish wealth continuously growing, while Panama remained the poorest colony in the Spanish Empire, ironically sitting on the most valuable strip of land on earth, yet unable to profit from it. Enslaved people attempted resistance, uprisings against Spanish rule, leaders being executed, rebellions being crushed, but they never gave up. That spirit would matter 400 years later. By the 1700s, Spanish officials began to wonder. They looked at maps. Only 55 miles between oceans. What if we dug straight through? But the jungle was too dense, the mountain too high, the engineering too difficult. For 300 years, nobody solved it. For 300 years, thousands of ships wasting millions of miles sailing, loss in billions. Then, in 1881, a man arrived. A man who had already moved a mountain once, the Suez Canal, Ferdinand de Lesseps, and he was about to make the biggest mistake of his life, one that would cost 13,000 lives. In 1881, 20,000 workers arrived in Panama. They had no idea they were walking into a death trap. The jungle was unlike anything they had ever experienced. The humidity was so thick you could not breathe. Workers described it as like breathing water. The real killer was invisible, and it spread through the worker camps like a plague from hell. Yellow fever, it started with a headache, then fever, blood vomit, and then you are dead with 5 days. In the first year, one worker died every day, 365 in year. In the second year, it was worse. In the third year, workers were dying faster than they could be buried. Mass graves, dozens of bodies per grave, dumped like garbage. 13,000 workers dead. That is more deaths than the War of 1812 and in Spanish-American War, all dead for digging a canal. This was a graveyard. My dearest Marie, I write this knowing I will not survive. The fever has taken my strength. I lie in a tent with 200 other dying men. The doctor says nobody survives this fever. I am 24 years old. I came to Panama to build something great. Instead, I am dying in a jungle. Tell my mother I love her. I love you, your husband, John. In 1889, the French gave up. They could not defeat the jungle, yellow fever, and mountain. 13 years of effort, 13,000 workers dead. The machinery was left to rust in the jungle. Lesseps returned to France a broken man. He died in shame, knowing 13,000 people had died for his dream. The canal sat abandoned for 10 years. The French failed. The jungle won. Then America looked at that abandoned canal and said, "We will not negotiate with the jungle. We will take what we want."
Gentlemen, the time for debate is over. We break ground here, regardless of the challenges. This nation's future depends on it.
American troops arrived in Panama as conquerors, not as workers, not as partners, as an occupying force. American soldiers took control of the canal zone. American laws replaced Panamanian laws. American military ruled Panamanian territory. For the next 96 years, Panama would live under American military occupation in its own country, on its own soil. This is what empire looks like, always taking what you want from weaker nations. Then came the Culebra Cut, the mountain that had to be moved. America removed 200 million cubic meters of rock. That is equivalent to emptying a hole the size of a football field 2 miles deep, by steam shovel, by dynamite, by human muscle, all in tropical heat, all in humidity that made breathing feel like drowning, and workers still died. Not from yellow fever this time, but from accidents. But the real genius was not the excavation. It was the locks, as the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans are at different heights. So America designed something revolutionary. Massive locks to raise and lower ships, 3 sets of locks, each one the size of a building, each one a marvel of engineering. Ships would enter the lock chamber. Water would flood in. The ship would rise 30 feet and will pass through the canal, then descend 30 feet into the other ocean. It was the most complex engineering project ever attempted. It was a triumph, a monument to American will and determination. Crowds gathered to celebrate. But it was also something else. It was a monument to American imperialism. America had moved a mountain. defeats the jungle that was problem for empires for 400 years. But America had done it by military occupation, by colonizing Panama. America would rule this canal, and Panama would watch America profiting from their most valuable asset. American soldiers patrolled Panama like an occupying army. American military police ruled. It was colonialism. It was the definition of a superpower, controlling a smaller nation by military force. Young Panamanians grew up watching foreign soldiers patrol their homeland and profiting from it. The anger built for decades, until it could not be contained anymore. For 85 years, America controlled Panama's most valuable asset. Panama begged for it, suffered, and protested, until one president did something no superpower ever does. American soldiers patrolling Panama like occupiers, because that is what they were, an occupying force in a foreign nation. In 1977, President Jimmy Carter did something extraordinary. He agreed to give the canal back to Panama. First time in modern history, superpower was voluntarily giving up an empire. The American flag came down and Panamanian flag went up. America was letting go. Panamanians controlled their own canal. Panamanians flooded streets in celebration. And something remarkable happened. The canal worked better under Panamanian control. Today, the Panama Canal runs at record efficiency. 14,000 ships per year, $270 billion in trade, 6% of world commerce, run by Panamanian engineers. The canal under Panamanian management is the most efficiently run waterway in the world. This is what sovereignty achieved. In 2024, Trump said America should take back the Panama Canal. We built it. We paid for it. We should own it. Panama's response was immediate and unified. The canal belongs to Panama and always will. Any military aggression will be met with total resistance. International news coverage spreads worldwide. American allies distancing themselves. Nations uniting against American imperialism. The world will not allow it again. Panama has the world on its side. America stands alone. And that is the Panama Canal, a place where jungles defeated empires, where thousands lost their lives, and history reshaped between two oceans. For nearly a century, powerful nations fought to control this land. But Panama never stopped fighting for its own future. And today, the canal stands not as a monument to empire, but as a monument to resilience, to survival.